Hello, this is Sylvie Anchor. You're watching Silver Anchor, and it's Study Saturday. Anyway, today is it starts Virgo season, so we're gonna do another horoscope page with Virgo today. And I've already started some of the. I'm a Virgo, so I'm very structured and detail oriented, and that's what we're gonna go over today. So I've kind of just blocked out some stuff. I'm gonna go ahead and sketch out the symbol. It always cracks me up because it looks like an M with its legs crossed. And when we go to Scorpio, it looks like something else that's more Scorpio oriented. So Virgos are called the Virgin. And it's not necessarily the type of virgin that you think. I was looking up the Vestal Virgins. This was in ancient Rome. And virgins is another word for unmarried woman in Latin times. So it didn't necessarily mean untouched. In the Vestal Virgins case, it was most likely because they had to take a vow of chastity to work in that temple. So there was the Vesta was the flame of Rome, and they had a crew of priestesses that overwatched it at all times. And they started at a very young age, and they had a vow of 30 years that they would work. So I'm going to try and draw, I'm of course going to draw a woman, but I'm going to try and make her a little bit more conservatively covered up, just like a high priestess would be. I mean, she can still be pretty, but part of that chaste was that they dressed a certain way because they weren't supposed to attract that kind of influence, right? They were focused on their craft, which kind of gives to what Virgos are like. Virgos are known to be perfectionist, analytical. They known for service. And what greater service is it to dedicate your life, as a priestess in the temple? Flower for Virgo is a buttercup. I mean, I saw a lot of flowers. Not gonna lie, there were a lot of options. And that's the thing, is you'll go look up what are the things, and you'll get a lot of conflicting info. So with those resources, I would just go with your gut. What does your gut tell you it is? Or what do you like? I've always heard sapphire was a gemstone. I went and looked it up, and there were several options, but it's always been sapphire. It's what I like. All right, lovely. So that was the only sketching I needed to do. And then last time I went in with the Tombow. It's my only one. I think I got a gray one. I don't do a lot of brush lettering, but we'll just be consistent. I don't know how I'm going to fit like Sagittarius up there. I'll probably have to reformat it or figure something else out. Oh dear, that G. It is what it is. So I'm happy with all of my sketching. I'm going to go ahead and go in with pen. I don't see my favorite one around, and I thought, well, maybe I'll just try the Micron. So Virgo is an earth sign. My mother always told me it was water, but I'm very much water, regardless of if my sign is Virgo. You don't have to just go by whatever your horoscope says. It's more of a feeling you have. And I am water. There's no doubt in my mind. Mutable. Do you remember the last one we did was fixed? Mutable. Think about the word mutation. They're up to change. They are moldable, right? You can change her mind. Give her a good evidence, right? Virgos can be very scientific. They will change their opinion. They are mutable. And the ruling planet for Virgo is Mercury. She shares that with Gemini. Interesting, the other human zodiac symbol. Just a couple of signs that have to share. Virgo is one of them. I remember reading once that If we found another planet, it would be called Vulcan, which always cracks me up because that's where Spock would come from. But the planet Vulcan would rule Virgo. If you think about Spock, it's a lot of the same characteristics: scientific, analytical, serious, but caring on the inside. Maybe not so much that it shows outwardly, but Virgos do care. But let's go over the general meaning of Virgo. And I already mentioned it. I'm going to write it even a little bit bigger. The one word, analytical. You remember one thing about Virgo. And serious, giving. And that's going back to that, being a public servant. So instead of just thinking of, someone who's chaste and virginal, think of a high priestess who is like, in today's context, it would be like a nun, but a nun who does science. Let's say that. And if you're taking care of a temple or a science lab, you need to be organized. With organization also comes a need to be tidy. Some people will say Virgos are nitpicky or perfectionists, and that can be in there. I'm not going to write it down because there's a difference between that striving for perfection and just liking things orderly. That is what's logical. Let's go back to the Spock moment here. And then with that, I'm going to put, this might be a negative attribute, but I want to list a few of them. Skeptical. Another negative I'm not going to write down is worrisome, right? Because when you start thinking too much, you start to doubt things, and sometimes you start to worry about things. And the last one here I'm going to put is just a concern for health and service. Remember, on our 12 houses, Virgo is the 5th house, and the 5th house was caring for others besides yourself. So it could be health, the health care, and then also being of service to your community. And that's really what a priestess would do, a Vestal Virgin. She's doing a service for Rome, making sure that flame keeps alight. They gathered herbs, and they were a caregiver in their community. Right here I'm going to put the dates of Virgo, and it's starting right now. I've heard some people say it's today, and that's the thing, is these 22nd, 21st, 23rd days, they are changeable. They're going to change every year, just depending on, I don't know, just little alignments that go a little bit off. I don't stress over it. I think it's kind of a fuzzy line, just like the full moon. Okay, you can precisely say like one moment in time, but it's about 2 or 3 days. And I feel the same for this transition. And there are people who are born, like say you were born August 22nd. Are you a Virgo? Are you a Leo? They call that being born on the cusp. And you'll actually have a little bit of both, right? So the people who are born near these borderlines will have a little bit of both signs. So we often think of the September babies as being Virgos. But you still got that last week of August in there. I don't know why our months don't line up with these. They probably did. All right, and here we're going to put our stone, flower, and metal. So again, I mentioned that the stone is sapphire. And I saw a few different flowers, but I think I just wanted to draw a buttercup. So I'm going to go with that flower. And then I saw a few different metals, but the one that really made sense to me was the metal Mercury. Since that's a ruling planet, why not? You're not going to buy any Mercury jewelry, though. It is one of the few metals that is liquid at room temperature, and it is highly toxic to humans. So that buttercup, I have it down here. I did a little sketch ahead of time just because flowers are a new thing for me, so it's kind of a fun thing to try out on these pages. So I did want to go ahead and give it a sketch up beforehand. So hey, you got to watch me draw the Virgo lady. I'm really enjoying learning how to draw them. It's a whole different anatomy to a flower. And I'm trying to give these a little bit of a bend. As the name implies, they're a cup. So the cup upward. Imagine this kind of flower probably closes. Some flowers are just open all the time, right? I think the sunflower is. It kind of sags a little bit. It's like, oh, the sun's gone. And it had this like little fuzzy looking dome here in the middle, the center of this one. So let's go ahead and go back. We're going to ink the Virgin and we'll continue to talk about Virgo. It's a little too close to home for me this time. Actually, in a way, I think I like how she came out better than my practice sketch. I filled up a sketchbook page with different virgins. That's kind of funny. Sketchbook full of virgins. But I tried some different poses and I decided I didn't want to do a whole full body. There's not really room up here. But I didn't just want a head either. So that's why I got the idea of just drawing a little flower would be nice. And it makes sense because she's studious. She's not just seeing a pretty flower, she's studying it. She's thinking about that flower. Maybe like I was thinking about, does it close at night? You know? Does it have medicinal properties? And another one we didn't put here, I'm going to put it because I have room for a small word, is shy. It comes out in some different attributes down here in the different planets. But shy, it just means, what is it saying? Still waters run deep. And I've definitely known some people like this. When they talk, it's something deep coming out of them. You don't talk often, but when they do, you should shut up and listen because it's really good stuff. And then if you didn't hear it the first time, they may not even repeat themselves. So, too bad you missed it, that little chunk of wisdom that just fell out of that Virgo. You missed it. Oh, this is not detailed enough or too much. The idea is she's wearing a white veil and a stola, which is the female version of a toga. They dressed very conservatively, which makes sense. If you took a vow of chastity, why would you dress provocatively, right? You don't need to provoke, right? Think about that word, provocative, provoke. That you're making people think of these things that they shouldn't think about you in that way if you've taken a vow of chastity. So that's the thing, is why would people draw a very sexy Virgo, right, when she's being chaste? So she's more to herself. So there's Virgo. Happy Virgo season. We just had the new moon, so it's a waxing moon. It's a good time to wish for things and bring things towards you as that moon grows. I'll see you Tuesday for Tarot Tuesday, and have a good one. Bye-bye.